Here's a clip from the Southwestern Lead app.
Hey everyone, my name's Peter, and I work as a coach. And today we're talking about R.A.F.T. And this is one of my favorite tools that anytime I work with any professional client, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars to people just getting started in their career, I know that some point in my journey with them, we will talk about R.A.F.T. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it always comes up. Now, R.A.F.T's a tool to help us deal with problems. And I use R.A.F.T a lot in my life when I get emotional, when I deal with problems, more on that front, that I just get overwhelmed, I get confused, I get angry, I get stressed, I get afraid. And the analogy with R.A.F.T, R-A-F-T, I'll go through what they mean, but it's this idea of the fact that in life, it's almost like you're going down a river on a raft. You can't really change the river. You're just floating on a raft. And you'll find there's three types of people in life. You'll have fighters, people that are in their raft, taking their paddle and paddling upstream. They're trying to fight the current and they don't want the inevitable to happen in their life. And you've probably seen people and some of your friends that things are happening in their personal life and their school life or their professional life, and they're fighting it. They're doing all this energy to fight the inevitable. Other people are floaters. They just say, well, whatever, it's just going to happen. And they just float off the rapids down to the waterfall and they just float through life, not caring. But really, what we want to do, the healthiest option, is to be a navigator and to float down the river, but navigate. Maybe I want to go over here by the trees, or maybe I want to go down this way and avoid that rapid. And R.A.F.T is a tool to do that. So what they stand for, I'll go through all four of them quick and then explain each one. So the R is realize an event is occurring. The A is accept the situation. The F is focus on the controllables. And the T is transform the negative emotion into positive momentum. And how it works is you got to realize something's happening. Sometimes we go through our day, we get pissed off, we get angry, something happens to us, and we just keep living. And you have to pause and be like, wow, I'm really stressed right now, or I'm really overwhelmed, or I'm really scared about what I have to do later. And then we've got to accept the situation. It's hard to accept, and sometimes that's the most difficult step and the most empowering, freeing step. Once you've accepted this is the reality of what's gone on in my life, maybe your parents got divorced, maybe you lost a job, maybe you failed a test. But once you accept that's in the past, I can't do anything about it, it's empowering that now we can focus on what we can do. And when we get emotional, you've got to accept the fact that we're emotional creatures. People that don't have emotion end up being serial killers, right? They go to psych wards because they can't emotionally connect with people. Emotions are part of how we were created. So once you've accepted your situation, now we've got to focus on the controllables. And you'll know through some of our other content that there's only three things we can control. We have our attitude, our effort or our activity, and then our schedule or our time. And attitude is really not, it's you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you interpret that, the story you tell yourself about it, right? And then obviously you have your activity, what you do, and how much time or your schedule. So what this looks like and how this all comes together is transforming the negative emotion into positive momentum. So we've realized events occurring. We've accepted that that's the reality of my life, or that event is in history. Now I can only move forward. We've focused on our controllables, and how we transform that negative emotion into positive momentum is just making a list. All of my options, all the dumb ones, and all the things you think you should be doing. And you've got to make that list and cross off the ones that are bad ideas and not focus on what you should do, but focus on the best option. Now, you might have heard this before, but there's actually scientifically proven. We've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder. You've potentially heard of that term, but scientists and psychologists have proven post-traumatic growth. So some people have the same trauma and negative event and grow from it. So that's kind of what R.A.F.T allows us to do. And there's this idea too of motivational dissatisfaction. I'm so dissatisfied, frustrated with my life that it motivates me to change. You might see on Instagram scrolling through reels, there's a lot of these popular ones where guys get rejected by some girl and then they go to the gym and become super buff, right? They were motivated, dissatisfied with who they were as a person, and it motivated this action that helped them grow. So that's how we transform that negative emotion into positive momentum, is just list it out. All the things that come to your mind, even the dumb stuff, and then you go through and you cross it off and you're like, nope, I'm not that kind of person that would do that. And then you settle with what's the best option. And just be afraid or be careful of the things that you think you should be doing, because sometimes that's not the best option. I know for me, if I'm afraid to make phone calls for work, instead of just manning up and picking up the phone and calling anyways, sometimes the best option is to like, hey, take some breaths, read my affirmations, look at my vision, 5 minutes, and then make calls, right? So for you guys, this is so powerful. I just want to share one powerful story with you on how R.A.F.T works, even in the worst case scenarios. I took a chaplaincy course once that was taught by a chaplain for the fire department in San Diego. And his job, if you know anything about firefighting, the firefighters go put out the fire. The chaplain works with the family. So if you imagine a scenario, a house is on fire, the firefighters are using the hoses to put out the fire. The chaplain is talking to the mother on the front yard whose kids are still inside. He's putting out that fire, that difficult situation. And even if you could imagine that, if you had kids and you didn't know if they were going to survive, the panic, the uncertainty, the helplessness, what are chaplains trained to do? They go through R.A.F.T with those people. They help them focus on, who do we need to call? Where are you going to stay tonight? Who needs to know what's going on? And that gives that mother or whoever it is a sense of empowerment. They might not be able to run into the building and save their children. They might not be able to put the fire out. That's what the firefighter's there for. But they can sit there and do something and take some action. So same for us. I know that's an extreme example, and we're rarely going to be in that big of an emergency. But even there, if we just stop, focus on what we can control, it can empower us to take that negative emotion, that negative experience, and transform it into something positive in our life. So I challenge you today, start practicing R.A.F.T. Put a reminder somewhere, a Post-it. I had a client that bought a keychain of a whitewater raft. Just a reminder that when you get panicked, when you get frustrated, when you get emotional, go through those steps. And we'll see you in the next one.
Southwestern Lead is an international leadership program that helps you build skills, gain confidence, and discover new opportunities. With professional coaching, a world-class digital learning platform, and certifications that will enhance your resume or application, Lead sets you apart. We'll show you how to turn success principles into success habits through small group training, one-on-one coaching, and guided action plans to help you apply what you're learning. It takes more than academics to reach your goals. See what one of America's oldest leadership training programs can do for you. Visit southwesternlead.com.